Welcome to Jesús Manuel Mena Garza Photography, Video and Audio. Hope you're doing fantastic wherever you're at. In this video, I'm going to be talking about YouTubers, specifically influencers in the area of photography, people that promote cameras and lenses, primarily cameras and lenses, and some accessories. I call them, 99% of them on the old YouTube are dweebs, dorks, and spazzes, okay? They are what I call a waste of my time. I watch their videos, I learn a little bit, but then I go, what the hell is that BS about? When I was going to college back in the 1970, around that time, the early 70s, I would encounter in my photography classes idiots who would say, my Leica is so much better than your Nikon. It's designed, blah, 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 blah. Again, spazzes, dorks, dweebs. Get a lot of them in photography. So we get a lot of those now on the old YouTube where they say, this Nikon ZR for cinema projects, I'm going to put this little adapter on there. I'm going to put this little adapter on there. And I'm going to use these lenses that I bought from the 1950s, stick it on there. And I'm going to put these filters on there. And I'm going to shoot some great video. No, you're not. You're not going to shoot some great video. You're going to shoot some piece of shit video, okay? If you're going to do a cinema movie that's going to go on the big screen at the theater, you're not going to shoot it with the Nikon ZR. I hate to say that to you. Some of the scenes where you need to, that camera's going to blow up, you might use a Nikon ZR. Just saying. Typically, you're going to use a $10, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 camera for that project, that whole setup, okay? Just saying. A Nikon ZR, for example, is designed for, the small-time videographer who's going to shoot a wedding, going to shoot a short-form documentary. Maybe they have two of them or three of them in a studio setup, one over there, one over there, one over there. They're going to shoot the guy, the gal, an interview and have an audio system. And it's going to be a rather simple, affordable setup. Again, it's affordable. This camera apparently is going to come out in the market for like $2,200. That's super for what you get. Super affordable. Of course, if you're like that dweeb, that spaz, that dork, you're going to put that little adapter on there. And then you're going to put a piece of shit lens on there. And it's going to come out fantastic. It's going to come out fantastic. So don't waste your time listening to those individuals. Just, they're going to talk about cameras, stuff like that. If I was to buy the Nikon ZR, the Z8, the Lumix high-end cinema cameras, or Canon's high-end, mirrorless cameras, the same goes with Sony, I would just buy one of their lenses, a zoom lens, a wide to mid-tally. I'm not going to put another adapter. I'm not going to try to put a Nikon on a Canon. But get that adapter. Click. Only idiots do that shit. Only idiots do that stuff. Dweebs, dorks, spazzes, people that live in their mother's garage, basement, those kind of individuals. Don't listen to them. Just buy this, a wide lens, maybe a mid-telephoto, maybe a normal lens, and just call it good. Or a zoom, maybe two zooms, a wide to mid-tele and tele to something else. If you're doing outdoor sort of, wildlife documentary photography, just call it good. You have yourself a nice little kit, $2,200 for the Nikon, ZR, plus another lens, a nice little zoom lens, another $2,000, and another zoom lens for maybe $1,500 or $2,000, and you're set for that, $6,000, $7,000. And then you get yourself a nice tripod. Pretty good. And when you're doing interviews, of course, you're going to need some mics, light stands, etc., etc. So it's pretty straightforward to me. You don't need to go the way of the dweeb or the dork or the spaz or the idiot on YouTube, the influencer. You got to get this. You got to get that. You got to get this. This one is not as sharp on the edges. Wow. Who's looking at the edges? Only a dweeb, a dork, a spaz. Unless you're a great photographer, Ansel Adams, Hiroshi Sugimoto, of that ilk. Then you're going to be looking at the edges. You know, this is a very nice landscape. This is a very nice photograph of a, you know, a seashell on the beach. Amazing. And it's an exhibit at the local museum. And you're going, this is very sharp. They printed up to 8 by 10. It's very sharp. It's not 16 by 20. It's not 20 by 24. It's not wall size. It's just a small print. And it's very sharp. Very nice. Very nice. I've been asked to exhibit on the West Coast. I'm going to be showing 3 of my photographs, possibly 4, but 3 for sure, by this museum. They asked me, Jesus, we would like you to be participating in the museum, exhibit. I asked him, what size prints would you like? So he said, oh, okay, for the 2 verticals, 16 by 20 is fine. And for the, square Hasselblad image, just 18 by 18 would be absolutely amazing. Again, decent size. Typically, when I exhibit, I have this whole series that I exhibit. I have them in boxes, and I've exhibited them from East Coast to West Coast to Fort Worth to everywhere I go. They always ask me for this show, and now they're all 8 by 8 prints. But some people want bigger prints. So my old scans and my old shots shot with my DSLR are very nice, very high quality when I exhibit them at museums. And sometimes at a gallery, but typically I show them at museums, at universities, at major venues. Even even in Europe, I've exhibited them in Mexico and stuff like that. So I know of what I speak a little bit, just a tiny bit. So if I was to recommend to my nephew, not my nephew, that's my grandson. I have a nephew also, but also my grandson is currently at the university, and he's studying communications, and he wants to be a radio announcer. I have specific stuff I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend all the stuff that you have to, do to make a good audio system. I would recommend keep it as simple as possible. KISS, keep it simple, stupid, okay? So for photography, if he was a photography major, I'd say just buy that camera, buy a lens, a zoom lens, wide to modestly telephoto, click. Understand what kind of miking you might need. If you need miking, just get yourself a $200 mic system. Just clip right here, clip on the camera, and you're set. You can do interviews that way. Just put it on a tripod or do whatever you need to do. Or just borrow stuff. Of course, you can always borrow stuff from the university, can't you? Back in the day, I had a Hasselblad back in the very early 70s, 70 to 70 on. I had a Hasselblad body, but I borrowed the lenses from the university, so I had every lens possible. So when I went to events and things that I would shoot and photograph, I would borrow stuff from the school. I had a Nikon F2. I borrowed lenses from the school. I couldn't afford a 300-2.8, but I borrowed it from the school and put it on my camera. No problem. So there are ways to get around stuff. I'm going to tell my grandson. And for you, I would say when you buy that camera, that Nikon, buy a nice Nikon wide to telezoom for most situations. If you're shooting wildlife, of course you need a super telephoto. Of course you do. But if you're doing portraits, that lens, a modest wide to telephoto, should work in 99.99% of the situation. Which, wedding, a bar mitzvah. Hey, a bar mitzvah. A christening, a baptism, a quinceañera, an event, meeting of the Chamber of Commerce, etc., etc. Keep it simple, stupid. This has been Jesús Manuel Mena Garza. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'm trying to give you some advice. I'm trying to save you some money. These dweebs, dorks, and again, spazzes out there on the old YouTube, most of them, 99% of them, don't know what the hell they're doing. They couldn't take a good photograph of you if you paid them $1,000. The person that's paid them $1,000, is this what I get? This piece of shit? I'm going to get this for, paying you $1,000. No, you're only worth around $5. Just get out of here. I'm not going to use you again. So use good equipment, use a good lens, use a good technique, and no aesthetics. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Please leave your kind and friendly comments below. And don't forget to ring the bell for future notifications. This has been Jesús Manuel Mena Garza. I have some information in the description in case you want to check out some of my other videos or etc. Just to check it out. Memberships, Patreon memberships, etc. Gracias. Adios. And to all you dweebs, dorks, and spazzes, Nice knowing you. You're wasting my time, okay? Bye-bye.